Okay, hi guys. My name is Harrison. I'm here as your host today to introduce you to a very special guest. We've got somebody here who's going to give you a little preview of Unleash the Power Within, the free workshop. I want to thank you all first for being here today. I'd like to send you all a warm welcome from the whole team here at BioAutoKit. I'm here to introduce someone very, very special today. But before I do, I want to make sure that all you guys are ready. So let's start with a little bit of engagement. Um, do you all have access to the chat box on the right? Get ready to type. I'm going to ask you a few questions. First of all, please type this into the chat box if you would like to have more wealth in your life. Brilliant. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Now, how many of you would like to have more happiness in your life? If so, again, type yes. Amazing. Great. Well, you're in the right place, guys, as today's speaker is going to talk about unleashing your power within. You're all in for a treat, as it's a privilege to have this gentleman with us here today. The person I'm going to introduce you to is an enthusiastic and empowering international speaker, coach, and author with a major passion to help people realize their inner power. He's traveled the journey of rags to riches to become a successful, accomplished man. He's the leading authority in personal and business development. He's touched the lives of thousands of people around the globe. He's worked very closely with some of the world's best trainers like Jerry Roberts, Robert Kiyosaki, Jordan Belfort, yes, the real Wolf of Wall Street, Les Brown, and of course, Anthony Robbins. He's been successful leading the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within preview workshops globally in the UK, Europe, Australia, and Middle East for nearly 6 years now. His book, The Secret of Winning, is due to be launched mid next year. It's an absolute honor to have him here today to share all of his wisdom with us all. I guarantee that you're in for a great day of insights and will be getting a taste of exactly what Unleash the Power Within is like. I've personally worked with this man, attended his courses, and that has helped me to get where I am today. He's taken his time this Boxing Day to share his passion and his energy. So let's give him a warm international welcome. Are you guys ready? I want yes, yes, yes in the chat box. Perfect. It is my pleasure to introduce you today to Amandeep Singh.
Thank you, Harrison, for such a wonderful, warm welcome. A lot of passion, a lot of energy. God bless you for that. And as you can see the screen for all of you, because every time I do this, it's been 6+ years. People want to connect with me, and this is the way I like to introduce myself. If you look at my name and the English spelling of it, it says A Man Deep. So some of my trainer friends, they call me the Deep Man. And want to be very upfront with you guys that this is my least favorite way of coaching and teaching, but at the same time, it also gives me the privilege to connect with some people who I might not be able to see in my live room. Just to give you a bit of background, right now this is Boxing Day and I am in Goa right now with my family in a beautiful resort, and it's a wonderful time we're having here. So life is super blessed for me. And very quickly I want to say thank you for joining us today, because I understand you could be doing something else, but you decided to give your valuable evening. And this is my promise: when you leave the webinar in the next 90 minutes, you will have these special 3 moves which I'm going to talk about today, which will help you to actually gain the next level of your life, whatever that is. So just quickly, let's take a quick few seconds and do a quick introspection into our own mind. I'm sure you've joined this webinar with because you want to gain some clarity. And if you can take a few seconds just to ponder over as to what would you like to take away from this webinar in the next 90 minutes, then it'll help us to fulfill those promises for you. So let's take a few seconds and maybe make some notes or write down whatever that you would like to achieve. And I've got a wonderful team here, especially I think it's David and Radha who's going to feed me back in with any chat you write down, any questions you write down, or any queries you have. And I want to be very sure you guys are all aligned with me, and my voice is able to reach you right now, because that's the only way we are connected. So if you can just say maybe yes, or you can hear me, or just a whatever, just a little word saying yeah, yep, yes, that you can see my screen and you can hear my voice right now. Please, if you can go ahead and do that right now. Thank you, thank you. And you also have a like a hand sign, so anytime you want to raise your hand or give a high five, just click on that button. It'll just you know help me at least believe that I'm not speaking to a screen, which I know I'm speaking to at least maybe 70 people right now who are on the webinar. But because I can't see you guys physically in front of me, there are occasions when I feel I'm speaking to a screen. So this is my life, what it looks like. Pretty much every weekend I'm somewhere inspiring people, empowering them. And a lot of people know me as Tony Robbins trainer. When I'm not speaking for Tony, I do my own workshops. I'm in India right now for a few weeks, and I will be going around in few cities doing my own workshops after I finish my holidays in the new year. And some people ask this question to me: what qualification did I acquire to become a trainer? So I've gone through a lot of different trainings, and I'm still on the journey of learning, growing, and finding new mentors to give me the new edge or the extra edge of my life. And I can go on and on with all these programs I've done and invested in my learning. I am very blessed to have a crazy partner who would be okay on a holiday for me to do what I do. It's my passion to inspire people. And I was very blessed to become a father this year in February. I've got a little princess, a bundle of joy been sent in our life this year. She's going to be 11 months on the 2nd of January. And as I said, my life is blessed. I live my passion most days. I'm based in London, and I go around, travel, inspiring and empowering people. But life was not always like this for me. And my journey started, in a city called Calcutta, where Mother Teresa, did all her great work. And I grew up in this city, with parents who couldn't read and write. My dad was a taxi driver, and they figured out, that their next generation life to be better. They wanted to send us to a private school. And somehow, I got chosen over my sister to get access to English medium school. The language, which I'm using right now, became possible because they had a dream for their kids. We had a lot of difficulties, growing up. I used to live in a one-room house while my father would drive a taxi to fetch a living for his family. But living in a one-room house was not a bigger challenge for me. It was one of the challenges I had. My bigger challenges in life, was that I was a fat child. So I got, introduced to something like laughing, teasing, by the peer group. And my biggest pain, my biggest sorrow, which has helped me become who I am today, that I'm a mixed child. I'm a part of incredible India. I am half Bengali, which is East India, and I'm half Punjabi, which is North India. My father is very fair in complexion. My mom is dark in complexion. And I grew up with the understanding from the people around me that there is something wrong with me as a human being, that I'm not pure enough as a human being. So I had all these questions that, God, why have you made me this way? I was a mess. I would be honest to accept that. I was suicidal at the age of 16 because I did not see any meaning in my life. I wanted to commit a suicide, cut my nerve in the middle of the night when everybody's sleeping. And I thought that will be the end of all my pain and misery. Well, I did attempt, couldn't be successful, and eventually landed up in a company called Amway, which was getting launched in India in 1998, and got introduced to personal development. Picked up two books from that meeting, which changed my life completely. On that journey, reading books, I came across Tony in 2003 when I was attending a training with a local trainer in India, in New Delhi. And since that day, I have never stopped reading books and learning and growing. I came to the UK under a scholarship from my cousin. He's been living in the UK for almost 50 years now. I'm very grateful for him to, give me a scholarship. That's how my journey started. So exactly, exactly, pretty much, I would say exactly 12 years back, my journey for London started. I went to a place called Newcastle for my further studies. And while looking for a part-time job, on website, I came across an ad of Tony of a free book, landed up into that, and then after a few days got a call from their office, and somehow got to Tony's program because I didn't have all the money to pay. So they were very kind enough to give me a payment plan, which helped me to come and attend Tony's program in 2007. And that was one of the best weekends I've ever spent in my life. And during this program, I made that decision, to do what I'm doing today, is to inspire and empower people. I just want to say you have done a great decision by coming up to this webinar. And no matter where your life journey is right now, I'm sure you're looking for the next level, but it all starts from here. It's in your moment of decision that your destiny is shaped. So you've taken a great decision, to be here. And I promise you, I will do my best to give you everything I can in the next 90 minutes, or maybe, I don't know, it's 80 minutes we are left with. So just a quick, hands out, maybe hands up for everybody who is connected with me right now and who understand, the importance of decision. So if you can just give me like a high five or a hands up, please. Okay, David, maybe, or rather sometimes, you can feed me back in. You can come into the audio, because it just means, that sometimes I'm speaking to the screen. I want to feel the people here. And if there is any feedback, any comment which I need to know, let me know in between, okay? I highly recommend, if you have got a phone around you, put it on a silent maybe, and leave it for the next maybe whatever 17 minutes we are left. And any question answer comes up for you, like, you have some queries, anything, which comes up from our sharing, then feed it into the chat box and my team will pick it up and we will do our best to give you the answers at the end. I will be here, once I finish. So I have got no rush to leave because this is what I love doing, on a regular basis. So very quickly, coming to the main uh, idea of this program is that we all here, including the team members of BioTicket, we all want to be more successful in our life. We want to become a better version of ourselves. Maybe you want to get motivated. Maybe you want to get more sales. Maybe you want to create our own business. Maybe want to upgrade to a different part of our life. So that's why we have chosen to be a part of this webinar. And there is one common word which connects us together, binds us together today, this evening, is success. And success is nothing, it's a very simple formula, which I discovered on my journey, from coming from a one-room house to living in a beautiful, amazing house in London. It all became possible because I decoded, a few things from my life. And one of the things I realized sitting in a restaurant in Hammersmith, that all human beings, we have been blessed with a powerhouse. And once we become a better manager of our powerhouse, we know how to, create more, build more, design more. Then we can have a life by design, but not by default. And some of you, maybe, you already picked up the idea of powerhouse. And for most of you, if you're still wondering and thinking what powerhouse I am addressing to, then that powerhouse is nothing but it's your mind. Yes, you heard me correct. Your mind is the foundation for every success you would have in your life. 80% of the success in life, they say, it comes from your mind power. So you got to understand, a little deeper, that you have been given a powerful mind, but at the same time, it's the only mind, which is stopping you from moving to the next level. Our mind, as per research, is divided into two parts: conscious and subconscious. If you look at the conscious part, just like the picture in the just like the picture in the slide here, it's like the tip of the iceberg. And there's a major part of your mind, which is an autopilot. It runs on its own. It does a lot of things on your own. It's a subconscious mind, and that's where a lot of work has to be done. For those of you, who would choose to come and attend maybe a live program with Tony over 4 days, he will go deeper into this. All I want to say, this is the only part which gets people boxed up. Tony talks about getting boxed up, and I talk about the same concept, in a lot of depth during my live events. I call it an invisible prison. People go into the prison of programming from their parents, who are actually your first mentors. In few cases, it could be your uncle, auntie, nanny, granny, who brought you up, and they give you a blueprint in life. They give you a way to show up in life. Like my parents, especially my father, never done business, I had a lot of struggle, driving taxi in Calcutta. Has a whole different understanding and meaning of business. And bless him, it's not his programming. He picked up from his parents, their parents picked up from their parents. It's like, a chain which carries on from generation to generation. We get boxed up with our friends who judge us. Like, my friends thought I'm fat, so I would be a good goalkeeper. Well, that was their mentoring for me. Then my teachers, who scored me and said that I can never become a doctor without knowing the background. And then, the culture you're born in, the religion your family follows, the neighbors, the surrounding, everything gives you a way to show up in life. And before you realize, in my understanding, this was my, realization sitting in that restaurant, that we get boxed up in life. And first, it's an invisible prison, so we can't see it. And the second part of the box, as per me, it's portable. So everywhere we go, we carry it. And when things are not happening for us because we are in the box, we say, things are not working out for us. But we got to realize that we are not designed to be in that box to begin with, because they've done a research and they have seen that no child is aspiring to sit in a cubicle and have an average life. Every child is aspiring and dreaming of becoming a top superstar one day. I mean, very quickly, about my childhood, I don't know, where did you grew up, where did you grow up, and what dreams and aspirations you had. But living in that one room house in Calcutta, I would sleep on the floor, because we did not have any bed or anything such like that in our room. We had just a rolling mattress which my mom would roll out. So we would sleep on the floor, and we had two windows. I would look through the windows, I would look at the stars, and I would dream of becoming a top Bollywood star one day. And then something went wrong. I went through some wrong mentoring with the wrong mentors, and they started boxing me up. So I started shrinking. From Bollywood star, I came down to cricket player. Then I came down to like a county player, and then my those dreams and aspirations went down the drain, never came back in my life. And I think in my understanding, this is what happens for most people. We get boxed up with the wrong mentoring from the wrong people. Once we find the right mentor, once we find the right environment, once we realize what our passion is and we're ready to work towards it, we become a master of anything we want. So I feel, in my understanding, this is what I teach during the live events, and feel free to be a part of that if you ever want to, see me live. I am, I would say personally, that's my observation. I think I'm at least 40 to 50% better when I'm, in front of live people. Um, so there is a way, for us to break this box. We can, come out of the prison we are in and have the life, by design, but not by default. So, how many of you here you would like to learn that principle, that key, which helped me, break my limitations and come out of my box? If your answer is yes, then please type in the chat box and let the team know that you are with us right now. David or Radha, would you like to please let me know with your voice call or with your voice message that people are engaged right now, because I'm not able to see any screen of chat boxes at my end. So somebody can help me to understand.
Hi, Aman. This is Radha here.
Yes.
Yes, people are engaging and they are, replying yes to yes. They are with you. They want to know, what all interesting is in store for them, and also whether, they can get into the chat box frequently. And yes, I want to let all the people, all the audience know that we are receiving your messages and I am communicating with you. And Amandeep here is there to help you out.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Radha. So everybody, a round of applause wherever you are, sitting, standing, office, your workplace or home, I don't know. So a round of applause. Thank you very much for that. Okay. So that gives me a bit more motivation, a bit more inspiration to carry on. So the key, is perturbation. Yes, you heard me correct. It's a technical term. We'll make it very simple and easy for you to understand. This is the key by which you can break your limitation. Now, this comes from the law of thermodynamics. And to keep it very simple, I'm sure you may have heard about law of attraction. You may have heard about the movie or maybe the book, The Secret. And if you go to this movie, or this book, there is a particular scene in the movie, or there's a particular page where they say E is equal to mc squared, which is in very simple terms the formula of energy. And they've done a research, as per scientific research, as per quantum physics, everything is vibration, everything is energy. My laptop here, the headsets maybe you're wearing, or the screen you're looking at, maybe the chair you're sitting on. Even you, as a matter of fact, is vibration. My hand, my eyes, my legs, my shoes, they're all vibrations. And as per perturbation, when any matter, all matters are made of molecules, they're vibrating at a certain frequency. And based on that, we perceive it to be wood, plastic, metal, paper. So when any matter is put under immense pressure, they have seen that, that rhythm which molecules have, it breaks down. And the molecules, they go into a huge chaos. And if the pressure stays over a period of time, this is the law of the nature, that it has to settle down. It will not go on forever. So the chaos settles down over a period of time when the pressure stays, and that matter converts into a new form of matter. And the best example I can give you is for trees. When trees fall on planet Earth, they go underneath the earth, and they have immense pressure on that wood matter. That wood, underneath it goes through immense chaos. And as the pressure stays constant, what happens, that chaos settles down, and that tree converts into coal or fuel or whatever you want to call it. And then over a period of time, the pressure stays, that coal can convert into another form of matter, which is diamond. And that is the key, my friend, is to your greatness. That is the key to your success. That is the key to your brilliance. Whatever they call it, whatever that your next level is, that is the key. And now, I'll give you the signs when you are when you go through perturbation. This perturbation, which I'm sharing, it doesn't mean, for us human beings, we are against walls. It doesn't mean that we have four walls against us. It means, that when you get clammy hands, when you get butterflies in your stomach, when you're nervous, when you're scared, what happens if I fail the interview? What happens if I fail in my exam? What happens if I don't hit my target? What happens if my business doesn't take off? What happens if I get a big loss in my life? What happens if the near and dear ones leave us? When you're about to do something which you've not done in the past, you get clammy hands, you get butterflies in your stomach, you have all these pressure situations built up around you. And when you're going through pressure, for most people, maybe who are not on this webinar, the high chances, that these people, as they don't have any mentoring, they don't have any coaching, they are not open to learning, maybe they retreat back. They quickly go back to being who they are, because it's very unnerving. It's very scary to be in that space for too long. But for people like you and me, we take help. We find a mentor to work with. We find a great business partner to work with. We find a great friend to support us, and we stay there longer. And what happens, when we get a mentor or a coach or a great friend to hold us accountable, and they would not let us go back and shrink, then what happens, we find new ways, we become more creative, we become more resourceful, and we break through our own limits. And when we break through our own limits, when you move on to the next side, we still look the same person physically. Amandeep did not change much in terms of looks, but I think, internally, we get higher distinctions. We get more courage, we get more power, we gain more clarity, we gain more knowledge. And what I say, that we evolve as a human being to the next level. And that's the key to our greatness. That's the key to our brilliance. When we are ready to evolve to the next level, when you're ready to go through pressure, when you're ready to, accept a mentor and a coach who has done better, and they, have the credibility to teach us. When we do that, we move to the next level. And you got to understand, evolving is not one-time program. It's not one UPW you do. It's not one webinar you attend. It's not 3 books you read. It's not 4 businesses you fail in. It's not 5 relationships, it did not work for you. It's an ongoing journey. You keep evolving to the next level, then the next level, then the next level, then the next level. Eventually, finally, when you go to the box, or maybe in some cases where I come from, you get burnt till at the end. So it's an ongoing journey. You keep perturbating, you keep perturbating, and you keep perturbating. Anybody you take as a successful person, in your understanding, it could be somebody, could be a relative, it could be a friend figure, it could be, an elderly respected figure, or it could be, a celebrity or a sports person or a business person. I don't know, Jack Ma, Richard Branson, or, is it Andre Agassi, or a political leader. Anybody you take as a role model, maybe Mother Teresa, or I don't know, maybe Oprah. Anybody you take as a role model, if you go and dig deeper into their life, For you to respect them, for you to take them as your role model, you will realize that they went through immense perturbation. They were the people who were not ready to take a no. They got the hit and they still moved forward. They found a way. They became resourceful. I'm going to give you real examples here. Right now, I'm sitting in Goa in a resort. It's a beautiful resort, by parking, but then their internet connection is not so good right now. The reason is, Goa gets filled up with, like, I don't know, people during this time. It's filled up, with tourists from all across the globe. So they have a pressure, on their internet connection. And the why I'm sharing this with you, because we have been testing our internet, since morning to make sure this webinar goes smooth. So I'm sitting in a very different location, maybe a little at a height place. Got some help, from the people here. They were very cooperative, and we're making it possible for you. Or we could have said, oh, let's leave it. This is not going to be happening. So for the last few hours, we've been working back and forth and making it happen, just because I understand, we'll have to go through perturbation. We'll have to be resourceful, have to change and tweak few things, take some help from there and here, and make things possible. And I don't know, whose life is going to change from this point onwards, because some of you would decide to take this journey forward, and I will get to see you during UPW or some other event. I don't know. So coming back, whatever that you want to achieve in your life, you've got to understand you will have some pressure. You will have to go through perturbation. And when you go through perturbation, you arrive on the next side. So just want to check, on that note, anybody here, or how many of you here, you have heard the statement and you believe in the statement that knowledge is power? Thank you for all your responses. Well, in my understanding, that's not a complete statement, I would say, because if only knowledge was powerful, right, your life would be way different than where it is right now. Because I think most of our challenges is not that we don't have the knowledge anymore, because we have access to Google and we can, reach to any knowledge we want. Our challenge is actually making that knowledge experiential. For most of us, we have some fear around making that knowledge experiential, because we think, what the hell would go wrong, and if we do that. One of the examples about motivation is skydiving, and it is the first time people go for a skydiving, like a tandem jump, when they get support from a coach or a mentor and they jump from 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 feet up in the sky. They have immense fear of heights. But when they come to the ground level, they feel like liberated, because they go through this powerful experience of breaking their own limitations and moving on to the next level. And I was one of them. You heard my story very briefly. I was fat, I was bullied and abused during my childhood, so I had immense fear of heights. I never climbed trees. I never went up on the wall. Never went steal fruits from my landlord's backyard, because I was too scared of heights in my past. So I had to make that knowledge experiential. So a day came in my life when I went up 5,000 feet up in the sky, and I jumped out of the aeroplane. And the only reason I could do it, because I had an instructor, I had a mentor, guiding me, coaching me all through the process. I had to, face my own demons and get over with that. This is in 2013, probably what, 5, 6 years back. I'm doing skydiving just because I wanted to overcome one of my biggest fears of life. And when I did this, I went through immense perturbation. I went through, a lot of fear, a lot of challenges, a lot of pressure. And I felt, there was a moment that I would die in this process. But in the whole process, what I did, I evolved as a human being. And the same is for your life. Anything you want to achieve and create, you have to go through pressure. So how many of you here, you have some habits, or maybe just one habit, which is not serving you right now and you would like to change? If your answer is yes, then type into the chat box and I will take you through the process how to make a change in your life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Well, this is how change happens. It happens in 3 steps. How many steps? Thank you. So the first step, which we are doing, because the time we have got and the access we have got with you today, we're taking you through a awareness session. So the first step to change is awareness. Once you have the awareness, then only you can change something. There are people that don't know that they don't know, and there are high chances they're not on this webinar. Then there are people like you and me. We know that we don't know it yet. We'll figure it out. So same as is for change. If you want to change something, you have to have the awareness first. So once you have the awareness, you have to go and take the second step, which is understanding. Understanding, that whose voice or whose conditioning or whose limitation did you pick up? Because nothing was yours to begin with. It was given to you by your parents, by your friends, by your teachers, by your mentors, by your surrounding, by your culture. So whose voice did you pick up? Whose energy are you living in your present moment, which is not letting you make the change? And once you have the clear understanding that this is my father's voice, this is my mother's voice, this is my grandparents' voice, then you have to take the final step, which is reconditioning or reprogramming. When you recondition or reprogram, it doesn't mean that you unlearn the old. In my personal experience, I don't think you can unlearn something completely. But what you do, you let go of what your past behavior is. You fill in on the top a new programming or a new behavior, and then the old program is there, but it is sleeping, it is dormant, it is faded away. Your new pattern becomes much more dominant in your life. Just my driving. I used to drive in India, but now as I'm driving in UK for the last 10 years, I've got a whole new style of driving. It's not that I've forgotten how to drive in India. It's just that my body cannot help but, you know, behave in a certain way when I'm driving because of my new conditioning. That's how, you bring change in your life. And there is something, I learned from Tony. Uh, and trust me, when it comes to changing your patterns and behaviors, you would need some help, because if you are your only help, then I'm sorry, God bless you. So on this journey, we would need some mentors, teachers, trainers to take us through the process. So for you to go into the second step, understanding, and then the final step, which is the most I would say powerful step, which is the step where you would need some help, and it will take you at least a day minimum, to work with somebody to turn your conditioning and beliefs around, whatever that has been holding you back. So I would say find somebody, to work with, maybe a teacher or a mentor, somebody you resonate with, somebody who has achieved something in their life, and they have the rights to teach you, because they have been able to break their own limitations. Now they can, give you the light from their light and show you a path to make changes in your life. Now, coming back to, there's something I learned from Tony, and this will help you to go through pressure in life. Because trust me, no matter who you are, even, if you're Tony Robbins, or even if you are Richard Branson, even if you're Amandeep, or even if, XYZ, when you hit with the pressure as a human nature, because that's the way your brain is designed. Your brain is not designed to see how, great things are going to happen today. Your brain is designed to keep you in a survival mode, and it is designed to make you, be safe in life most of the time. So when it comes to recondition, reprogramming, you would need some support, and there will be pressure built up in your life. You will have to find a way to go through that pressure and still continue further. So there's something, I picked up from Tony, and all I did, because I'm an Indian, I just spiced it up. When you spice it up, it just becomes more, tastier, or it becomes more enriching, or it becomes more powerful in my understanding. So there's something I learned from Tony, and I would like to share with you guys. There are 3 moves, which you can do, which will give you strength and courage to go through pressure. So how many of you here, you would like to learn that 3-step process right now? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So this is, what I learned from Tony. This technique is called triad. What is it called? Thank you. Uh, as a technique, as the name suggests, this technique has got 3 steps to it, 3 principles to it. All I want to explain to you right now, that Tony has made it very simple to understand, that we human beings, we always going through some emotions. We feel emotions. That's what makes us human beings. Now we go through emotions like feeling sad, feeling low, feeling not being sure, feeling lack in confidence. For some people, they go to the extreme. They could feel depressed, uh, you know, which is a very sad place to be in. And if you know somebody like that, you must reach out to them, because there is help out there. Because I know some people um, who have done some horrible things, with their life. It's a beautiful gift, God has given us, and we must know how to, love our body, love our life, love ourselves, and move forward in our life. So just coming back, to keeping to the topic about triad, we go through different emotions, of feeling sad, low, and then we go through emotions of feeling happy, excited, enthusiastic. Now we can, put all these emotions in 2 main categories. One is your low state, where you shy away. You don't hold eye contact with people when you're speaking in person. Normally, you would speak fine, but in this situation, you might be eating up your words. You might be like shrinking in your body language. Now, there is something you do in your life. Let's say, you go through a coaching session. Maybe you listen to your favorite music, or maybe you watch something inspirational, something you do, and you come out of that coaching or that process, that mentoring. You stand maybe just a half an inch taller than normal. You have a very upright posture. You look into somebody's eyes, and you hold eye contact. And when you're talking to them, you come across so confident, even when you don't know the answer for something, but you come back so smartly and gracefully, with the right tonality, that the person believes in you. They think you're the right choice for the job or for the business or whatever that you are into. As for Tony, when two people come into deal making, the person with higher certainty would always win. So I'm talking about that certainty, that energy you have in that state. And that state, as per Tony, is your peak state. Yes. So what Tony's suggesting is very simple, that he's saying when you have a challenge and pressure come up in your life, you cannot be that person, who's going to your low state. You have to find a way to get into your peak state. It's just that it's not that the challenge will become easier when you go into peak state. It's just that you become stronger to face it. You gain strength to go through it. And this is, how you would achieve peak state. And if you apply this, on a regular basis on your life, you will get immense result, because a lot of people I know personally who have applied this and they've got a lot of results in their life. So the first way to achieve your peak state, your personal peak state, is your physiology. The second is language. And the third and my favorite is focus. So as for Tony, and this is what you would also have observed in your personal life, you cannot be sad and jumping up and down. When you jump up and down, there is something happens, in your emotional state. You just instantly, you reach a higher state or your peak state. He suggests, Tony's suggesting that your body is the ultimate source of energy, so you got to use it more often. And that is one of the reasons, Tony, he has been speaking for 40 years now, 4 decades. This man have been training, coaching people. Even till this day, even if it's a 1 day program, even if he has to go up on stage for maybe 4 hours, he would still jump up and down on his trampoline, because he would have a trampoline, in his green room or behind the stage, whatever you call it. He would jump up and down on the trampoline, and then he would do something else, which I would, very briefly tell you right now in a few moments. And then he will run up on stage. And this is the same technique I use. This is the same technique I know a couple of trainers personally who use. This is the same technique I know some teachers are using, before they go for their classes. This is the same technique I know some business people, they do use before they go into their business meeting. This is the same principle, same technique you can use. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you do. Even if you're in a university, right, you can still use this. When you jump up and down, you feel different, and you have more strength and more courage, more energy to go through the challenges and pressure. So use this technique. It sounds very simple, my friend, but when you use it in your own way, it doesn't have to be any special way. You don't have to actually get a trampoline to jump up and down. You can put your best music, and you can just jump up and down on the floor, maybe. Or it could be, I don't know, maybe your favorite dance, or something like a favorite move. It doesn't need to be a particular way. It just has to be a way where you put your body into motion. When you put your body into motion, something magical happens inside your body. Your emotions gets triggered in a way that you start feeling better. And when you feel, at your peak state, when you're about to reach your peak state, or when you reach your peak state, you gain more clarity, you gain more strength. You find another special way to break your limitations and go through the pressure. So use it, my friend, because this is the quickest and easiest way to get into your peak state. And the more peak state you can, go into, the more success you will see happening in your life. And that's why, Tony is big time into making people jump up and down. He's not making people jump up and down. He's making people become more successful. He's giving them that conditioning of success, and that happens in all his programs. You go to Date with Destiny, you go to Business Mastery, you go to Leadership Mastery, any program you go for to you go for in Tony's event, you will see people jump up and down. He makes billionaires, millionaires jump up and down in his program, because there's a reason behind it. Use the technique; it's very powerful. Now, the second technique, in the triad, and again, this will take me a day to take you through the process. All I want to do, give you a little bit of just awareness of this. When he's talking about language, he talks about our beliefs. We all human beings, we carry beliefs. We see the world in the way we are, not the way the world is. Somebody who grew up in Vietnam has a different meaning about success and life. Somebody who grew up in Pakistan looks at the world in a different way. Somebody who grew up in Australia, looks at the world in a different way. All the surrounding you grew up in gives you a way of living. So as per research, we human beings, we are in constant communication. When we're not talking to anybody else outside, we talk to ourselves. And as per research, don't take my words, you can go and Google, or you can Google your life. You can straight away have a Google in your life, because you don't need an internet connection to do so. For most people, they have seen, that their little voice, their inner voice is disempowering. And that's where things go wrong for us. When we are disempowering ourselves, by telling us ourselves off, by telling ourselves, that if we had a little bit of more height, somebody like me in the past, would say, if I was a little bit more fair in my complexion, I could resonate my father's name. I had a lot of issues about my identity, which has all gone, during Tony's program, because I found a system. And the same system, you can have access to if you choose to. Now, what Tony's suggesting, that we human beings, we are like factories. We are meaning making machines. We attach a meaning to our past. Nobody's doing that. We are designing our story, and we are the only person on our own way. When we let go of ourselves, we can create whatever we want to create. So go back and visit, and see what meanings are you really attaching. Not that what you say, I mean, I'm sorry, but a lot of people live in denial. They say something, but they do something. What you say is not who you are, is what you do is who you are. So watch yourself, observe yourself and see, what is that you do on a regular basis, because that's who you really are. Well, if your meaning is empowering, then congratulations, my friend, you are on a good track. you know Reinforce it and make it powerful. But for most people, I can tell you from my experience of working with people for last 8 years, coaching at least few thousand people personally, for most people, their meaning is very disempowering. I had the same situation, probably 12 years back, maybe 14 years back. But somebody helped me, to discover a system where I started, shifting my meaning for life. My story, started changing from, being a suicidal, fat, abused, one room, Calcutta boy, to who I am today. It's just that my meaning started shifting. If you met me, 12 years back in Newcastle, and you told me, Amandeep, my friend, you will become an international trainer, you will inspire people, you'll motivate them, you will write your own book, you will have a property business, you will have a house in London, you will have a beautiful family, people will look up to you as a role model. I would tell you, my friend, I am sorry, sir, you are mistaken. Sir, I'm not that Amandeep you're looking for. Sir, do you have a job for me, please? Seriously, no, sorry. That's what I was doing. And I'm making it funny here. I'm doing my best, to crack a joke while I'm on the internet. um, but that was all I was thinking about, in Newcastle. How could I get a job? How could I get overtime on Sunday? How could I get overtime on Saturday? And you know the reason, why we take overtime as a new immigrant on Sundays and Saturdays. We just make extra money. We got to understand, guys, that if just working hard would make us successful, then trust me, the guy I met on the road, who's digging this roads, for us in India, it's 40 degrees in temperature, in peak heat, he's working hard. And he told me that he doesn't take so off, even one off in a month. He works 30 days, 365 days to fetch a living for his family. If hard work is the only ingredient to success, then he would be the most successful person in my understanding. I'm not taking away the fact that hard work is not required. It is required. But at the same time, you got to know the strategies. You have to know the techniques. You have to have the right mentor to go through the process. That's what happened for my life. And I can only come from my experience. You know, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, I just want to say sorry. But I can tell you, from my experience, that if you take up at least one principle from this webinar, you apply in your life, things can start shifting. Just, the physiology part, if you start applying it, you will gain more results. If you start shifting the story of your life, which you would need help on, I can really guarantee you on that. If you think you can do it on your own, you would have already done it. So find a mentor, to work with, because they know better and they can take you through a very powerful process. And the final one in the triad, which is my favorite, and again, I do a whole story on this when I'm in a live event. All I want to say, that anything you focus on a regular basis, you see more of that. Like, if you buy a new phone, whatever, XYZ phone, you see more of those phones. If you buy a new car, you see more of those, cars in your reality show up. So they've done a research on human brain, and they have seen that anything you will focus on would expand on a regular basis. And this is, where a lot of people are going wrong, because our focus span has gone really, really, how do you say, diluted right now. Because with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, you name it, there's so much of distraction. People are going into this a zone which I call browsing blackout. Browsing blackout is a zone, where you end up spending time on internet without realizing that you're spending time. Your 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of your life just goes wasted because you don't realize that you're spending it on internet, checking Facebook, checking Twitter, checking LinkedIn. How many of you here, be honest, that you go through this, you know a space of time when you don't realize that you have spent maybe 1 hour on Facebook, or maybe 45 minutes, or maybe 2 hours, and you would like to have a way to break that pattern, and create something like a powerful focus, so that you can achieve your success. If that's the case, please type into your chat box, and rather, please come back to me and give me some voice, so that I feel back again that I'm not speaking to a screen.
Amandeep, yes, you definitely are not speaking to a screen. We have really awesome attendees over here. Like, for example, there is Davina who wants to know as to how she can build a connection from work. She keeps on, she's on a loop of overworking and she does jobs, then that which she dislikes, and then she goes to travel. So there is this really hard loop which she wants to break. And what are the beliefs whether to choose that or not, and whether to choose love and fear. And then there is Victor, who is also agreeing to your ideas. And yes, there is Irene, there is Alexandra, on how even they are, sharing their thoughts. And I really think that it's an awesome audience, and your knowledge is helping them a lot.
Thank you, thank you. Rather, can you just help me understand how much time we have left?
If I'm not wrong, we have another around 45 minutes left.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, a very quick answer to the questions, you have given me right now. All I want to say, that you have to prioritize. First, I would say, if it's in my power, that come and spend 4 days, with Tony, go through a complete immersion process. And coming back to the question, a quick answer would be prioritize, your life. We always have choices. It's a choice we have to make. No one can make it for us. So you have to prioritize, put it on a list, and pick up your top three priorities and run with it. The rest have to be secondary, and you have to let go. When you hold on to too many things, we're not able to achieve anything. That's all I can say right now. If you want to know more about it, I'm happy to get on a call with them later on, or probably they can send me an email and I can go more deeper in that, because I have to know a bit of more background to answer that. Coming back, what I've shared so far, if you apply maybe one or two things from here, it'll help you, to achieve what you're after, achieve. If you want to get out of distraction, or if you want to find some more help, I want to give you one question, keep it with you. It is a very powerful question in my understanding. And if you can revisit this question, it can give you answers for most of the things. Trust me, whatever you're going through as things are not working for you, if you come back to this question, because I do it personally, even today, I applied that question. When my sunglass broke and I was on the street, looking for somebody who can fix this, I was just asking this question, what I'm focusing on right now. Yes, I had to go through 5 different shops, walk for 3 miles, and then find somebody. But I found it because I was keeping the question alive in my reality, what I'm focusing on right now. Okay, so coming back, you have to understand, when you ask this question, do you focus on your successes? Doesn't matter how tiny little those successes are, or do you focus on failures? And trust me, with my experience of working with people, the way we are designed, most people, they focus on their failures. They focus on their setbacks. My book, The Secret of Winning, this is what I'm sharing with with the people who will read my book, is to understand that there is no failures in life until you think it is a failure. you know Anything you think is a setback, it's not a setback. If you have a way to look at it, it's just a feedback. A feedback is a learning mechanism. It makes us better. When you fail as per your definition, or when you think you have got a setback as per your definition, you went through a learning curve. You learned very powerful lessons. If you want to have a long-term memory, you got to understand, it's learning, plus, internal emotions. Knowledge plus internal emotion gives you long-term memory. When you're very emotionally triggered and charged, those lessons stay with you for longer. They stay with you forever at times. So coming back, keep this question alive in your life and always ask yourself on a regular basis, if possible, if needed, even for every hour, if not at least once a week. Sit down and spend maybe a few minutes with yourself. Date yourself, every single week if you can, at least for an hour. I don't know, put up a candle, take a little small cake, put your best drink over, put it on the table, and spend maybe 1 or 2 hours reflecting, introspecting, and asking this question: what did I focus on this week, and what would I focus on next week? The more you can focus on your successes, your strength, the things you have achieved, the more of results will show up in your life. For most people, they think, oh, is this going to work? How would it answer, all these questions I've got? How do I find the investor? How do I actually, put my money together for the next property? It will come. Trust me, it will come. There's no rocket science about people, who achieve a lot of great things. And your understanding, the only thing they're doing, they're asking the right questions. Tony says the quality of your question would define the quality of your life. If you ask quality questions to your mind will come up with quality answers. So coming back, ask this question on a regular basis: what I'm focusing on right now. Am I focusing on that the fact that I can't afford it, which most people do because of the conditioning? Or are you becoming creative and saying, how I can make it happen? What needs to happen for me to raise funds for my business? What needs to happen for me, XYZ? The more empowering you can make your questions, the more empowering your life would be. And as I was talking about distraction, human beings go through a lot of browsing blackout. We all go through that. And how do I know this, that people go through browsing blackout? Because I am a part of it. For me, it is just maybe 15, 20 minutes, before I get lost. And when I come back to reality, I go like, shit, I don't want to be wasting my time. And I would be asking a powerful question saying what I need to focus on to get more results right now. So I will go back to, being more creative and more productive. So this is, what I want to tell you, that just focus would not be enough in today's time. With so much of distraction, we got to have a laser-like focus. And yes, if you understand why laser, because see, it is very precise. It will only reach to the point where it has to reach. It is not having this, shiny object syndrome. A lot of people, in today's time, they go through this shiny object syndrome. They leave one business to another business. They leave one job to another job. They leave relationship to another relationship. They're just moving, and not getting results. We call them people with shiny object syndrome. And for most people, when they have this shiny object syndrome, you got to understand that deep down, they do not trust themselves. If they trusted themselves enough, they would stick to something they found, which they feel is their passion. And then they realize later on that it is actually their true passion. And they will have a different life compared to the life they're having. Deep down, I'm actually talking something very deep right now. Some of you would pick up. For some of you, maybe you won't be able to connect, but I'll still share it. Deep down, subconsciously, we stay consistent as human beings. We are programmed to stay consistent. For most of us, we love our struggle in a different way. Deep down, if we go deep into your psyche, deep down, if we wake up tomorrow and there is no struggle, we would feel vacuumed. We would feel something is really missing. So we do things, without knowingly, again, I understand, to stay consistent with our struggle. And again, I'm talking something very deep here. If you are able to relate to it, I'm sure you will make some changes in your life so that you can achieve what you really want to achieve. So how many of you here, you would like to learn, a 5-step process, which I created by decoding my life to become the person, from coming from one row house to the person I am today, where it will help you to build a laser focus in your life. If your answer is yes, you would like to spend maybe 3 hours. I'm obviously, you understand, I'm not talking about this webinar. It'll be a series of 3 webinars where we will get on a call like this with a small group of 20, 30 people. We'll spend an hour and then we'll have some question answers, live question answers. Then, we'll spend another 45 minutes on a second session. We'll have some question answers live. And then a third session, we'll have 45 minutes of deep content and then maybe, 20 minutes of question answers. It'll be a series of 3 webinars. So how many of you here, if I designed that with the permission of Buy Your Ticket to spend more time, with a handful of small group of people, how many of you here, you would be interested to invest and be a part of a webinar which will help you to get out of distractions and create a life of laser focus so that you can achieve the dreams and success or whatever that aspirations you're after. If you truly want to be a part of that, then please type in yes in the chat box. There will be an investment. I am not sure. I would say, let's say something, in between 150 to 200 pounds. You know, let's say, 200 pounds. How many of you here you would be interested to invest 200 pounds and, be a part of that series of 3 webinars and spend some quality time in a small group? Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll work on it. We'll work on it for the people who are interested. We'll do everything in our power to get you closer into my energy, into my vortex. Trust me, the more closer you get to me, you cannot help but become more successful. That's the way I am. I'm a tough trainer. I kick people's, my students back so hard that they cannot help but become successful. So coming back, what if I told you that there's a system, I discovered, and if you can discover the same system, you will be able to become whoever you want to become. It's the same system, which Tony teaches, which I got introduced to in 2007, and my life completely changed. I'm sure you must be aware of the fact that Tony is world's #1 success coach, and he helps people, become a better version, like he helped me to become who I am today. So I'm going to give you a little glimpse pic, of the program. I'm going to play a quick video here for a few seconds and just watch, and virtually experience what it feels like to be at Tony's program. Thank you so much, Tony Robbins. So a round of applause for Tony Robbins, please. Wherever you are, thank you so much. Well, if anybody here, if you're mistaken by my achievements, by my association with Tony, Les Brown, Success Resources, Bio Ticket, sharing the stage with Wolf of Wall Street, the real man behind the movie. You got to understand, there's nothing special about me. And if you haven't picked up yet, that's my report card from 4th standard. And if you look at the name, it says Jameer Singh. That was my original name in the past. It got misspelled. It was not the name I was supposed to have because my name was Ajmer. And yeah, I just rebranded myself, completely. If you look at inside my report card from 4th standard, I have failed, English, Hindi, mathematics 10. I can go on and, my 5th standard report card from my school, Indira Gandhi Memorial High School. If you go in, you can see failures. Again, Hindi, 18 marks. History 16, mathematics 16, fail, 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 fail. My sixth standard, fail, 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 fail. When I got relocated, from Calcutta to a remote village in the northern part of India where my dad is from, because when I was 16, he had an accident, with his ambassador taxi, with his ambassador car, and he had no choice, but he had to uproot us from Calcutta and bring us to a remote village in Punjab. I was admitted to a school which was 50 miles from my village, and again, it was a very horrible time of my life. I was admitted to the school where I was so scared to go in because one of the teachers, who would beat the students up very badly. I didn't appear for my exams, which is A levels, and I had a hard time to get a relieving letter, from that school, because if you can't get a relieving letter, you can't get admission to another school. So somehow, with some influence, I was able to get a relieving letter. It says school living certificate, and if you look at, the end, the remark says he left school while studying in 11th non-medical, which is, A levels. Then I got admitted to a school, in my town, which is another, like 20 miles from my village. I appeared for my A levels. I failed in mathematics. I attempted again. I failed in my mathematics again. It was the final attempt, when I somehow cleared it, and then somehow cleared my graduation, and then I came to the UK for my further studies. We all have to understand, my friend, whoever you are, doesn't matter where you grew up, doesn't matter what your nationality is, doesn't matter what your religion is, doesn't matter how you look. We all have to understand, that we have been cut from the same cloth. We all human beings have been cut from the same cloth, maybe just different design, different texture, different color. All of us, we go through one common experience, and that is fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. When we let our light shine, we let others to shine around us. And this is one of the powerful, messages which has stuck with me, with my life, because, as I said, I was a mess. I was scared of letting these two amazing people in my life let down. You know, I had this fear: will I be able to live up to the expectation of my parents? My parents who put aside everything in their life. They sacrifice every little single joy of their life to make me the person I am today. I was scared, to let these two amazing human beings let down in my life. And I want to give you something, before you leave this webinar, and I want you to write this down in your notebooks. And if you can, write with your own hands, because when you write with your own hands, something magical happens. It's great to take notes, on your Word document or on your notes on your pages, but there is something magical about writing, and there is something special about writing with your own hands. If you can, please write it down and make it personal. Remember, that write this down personally, okay? My environment is bigger than my willpower. I'll repeat that. My environment is bigger than my willpower. Yes, my friend, you heard me correct. Willpower won't be enough in today's time to take you through the finish line. It's a great thing which will get you started. It'll even take you close to the finish line in some cases, but it is not the only way by you which you can cross the finish line. They've done a research that the 5 people you spend the most time with, or it could be 6 or 7, you become like them. So if you hang out with people, who are broke or poor, you cannot help but become poor or broke in your life. And it's just not about money. It's about being persistent. If you hang out with people who give up quickly, easily, you will become like them. So be aware of the environment you are in. And my friend, please, if you can, make your environment empowering. And for that, you may have to let go of friends, some friends, maybe you have to let go of some relationships for a while, or there's another way you can energetically disconnect. Like my parents, I couldn't change them. For a few reasons, I would love to change them, because my father has a whole different understanding about business. He don't trust people, because he had an experience, when he was driving taxi, and he still lives in that programming. I wish I could change it, but he's very hardwired. He's not open to learning, and that becomes very difficult to mentor and coach somebody. But we have this amazing blessing. Otherwise, we would not be in this webinar, where we have openness to learning. We follow somebody. We watch videos, we read books, we attend programs, and that's how change happens. I had this fear that, would I be able to prove my critics wrong? Because I had some critics who thought I would never make it to the UK, who thought I would never probably get a decent job. Even some critics probably had this thought I would never have my own house, because my father Never had a house until he turned 65. It's only maybe 10 years back when he actually got his own house, because he did not know the right things to do in life. He did not understand the power of money and how to make money work for him. So I was lost in my life, and I had questions. I did not know which path to take. How do I find the answers for the question? But I had the blessing to be open to learning. So I found mentors, and when I found the mentors, they helped me put the pieces of puzzle together. And when I was able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, I became the man I am today. I was able to hit my target. And the same you can do, provided you understand the system. If you look at my life, this is my first personal loan I took in 2005. And if you look at the details of it, it says 50,000 rupees, which is roughly 600 pounds. And I took this loan on a very high interest for 3 years. And I did not take it, to buy a car or to buy a phone. I took it for learning. It has given me a lot of returns in life. So if I have your permission, can I introduce you to Tony's program, which can give you the same access to system which I had, which helped me to become the person I'm today. Thank you. Thank you. So this is what Tony. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Aman. A
Yep.
couple of people are also requesting you to repeat the line that you said earlier, the sentence you said earlier, because
Environment.
yes.
Yep, sure. Thank you for that. Rather, I will repeat it. My environment is bigger than my willpower. My environment is bigger than my willpower. And the best example I can give you is from my real life, friends. I'm sitting in a place where I have to sit to get the best internet connection right now, where mosquitoes are biting me. So if you are in an environment where you have mosquitoes biting you and sucking your blood out, you got to be out of that environment. Simple as that. Somebody is sucking your success out of you because of who they are. And if you stay too longer with them, they will take you down. You have to have some empowering people around you, people who will hold you to higher standards, who will kick your back if required, with love, so that you can become a better version of who you are. If just by sweet thing and just by being soft you can bring change, then success would not be there for a lot of people. You have to be hard and tough at times. So you have to be with people who have high standards, and they'll make you uncomfortable. And your growth happens in your uncomfortable zone, not in your comfort zone. So coming back, this is what Tony would do for you. On the first day, he will make you understand that it's only fear which stops us from being the person we want to be. And we all have some fear. And deep down, the biggest fear we have, would I be able to provide for my family? Will I be enough? Will I be loved enough by others? And when you understand that, when you let go of the deepest fear you have, you shine as a human being. You step into your power. You become an Amandeep. You become an Alan. You become, a JP. You become Oprah Winfrey. You become Tony Robbins. There's nothing special about, Tony Robbins or about anybody you take as a role model. It's just that they were able to overcome, the fear they had to be the human being they are. So there's a lady, I'm sure you all know her. We all respect her. She is known as the richest woman on planet Earth. I'm sure you picked up by now who I'm talking about through the slide. It's Oprah Winfrey. This lady, with so much of power, with so much of wealth, with so much of knowledge, decided to go to Tony's program, and not to attend it, just to check out what he does in 2011. She heard a lot of hype about Tony. She said, okay, I will peep into the program and see what it is about. But this is the beauty, of successful people. We must learn this amazing strategy which successful people have. When she found value in Tony's program, she ended up doing the program. Maybe on few occasions she was out for the person she is, but she ended up doing most of the program so that she can have her own breakthroughs. And that's when she started the next chapter after the program. You know, so we'll play a video exclusively, which we have taken, and we have the permission, to share with you. So here, see what Oprah is going through, and then I will share what did Oprah write about Tony's program after the event. So here we go. A round of applause for Oprah Winfrey, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And this is, what she wrote. I'm sure if somebody heard the video, you may have heard her saying, I did not plan to come to do this. So yeah, she was not planning to do this, but then that's what the power of being at UPW. The whole energy makes you do some things, and especially something like fireworks puts you on a whole different path. Shows she shared this after the program. She said Tony's power is superhuman. He got me to do something I never thought I would do: walk on fire. You saw her being hesitant. Tony was taking her through a process. It's called pattern break. I'm not going to go into that. It's just that people go through firework, and then they find a lot of breakthroughs in their life. On the second day, Tony will be helping you to build your conditioning for this success conditioning. So he will go deeper into that. On the third day, he will go very deep into one of the not one of the I would say anything which is blocking you, and he will be able to share a powerful gift with you as he did for me on the third day. It's a very emotional day for a lot of people, and I will share one of the videos of Oprah going through that powerful process, and then I'll share what happened for me on the third day, which helped me to take a big decision of my life and change the whole path of my life. So here we go. It's a very deep process, people go through. When I went through this process, I remember, struggling. I remember a lot of memories, which I got from my childhood. And I remember, um, finding somebody back into my reality again. This is my grandmom, my mom's mom, and she was very dark in complexion. And without having much wisdom as a kid or as a teenager, I would hold her responsible for being the reason for all my pain and struggle in life. I thought I'm a impure human being because of her. I thought, if she was not there, my life would be easier. So we discarded her, and she had no choice but to go and beg on the streets of Calcutta. Not very proud of that, but it happened. That memory came back. The memory of losing my uncle. That's my mom's brother. He went into drugs and lost his life much younger than he was supposed to. And all these memories came out from me, and I was struggling, to be grateful about something in my life. And as this, the power of UPW is, it takes you through a process, and eventually, I was able to make peace uh, in that process. I was able to release, a lot of the emotions I was holding on in my life. And Tony gave me this beautiful gift to see myself beautifully in the way I am, and he made me, get in peace with who I am. So he facilitated me to become my biggest fan. You know, I am in unconditional love for the person I am, and the same I want for you, nothing less than that. Once you fall in unconditional love for the person you are, life will become magical for you. So no matter who you are, where you are, whatever has gone in your past, you cannot go and fix it. All you got to understand, you got to accept yourself completely, and you got to love yourself completely for the person you are. That's what happened, for me at the third day, and that's how I could take a big decision of my life of becoming a trainer, a world-class speaker, and inspiring and empowering people. That's the decision I took in 2007, and look where I am, in a resort in Goa, and doing one of his webinars right now. Now, being Tony who he is, he's the why guy. He goes deeper into reasoning, and on the fourth day, he will take you through a very powerful process with a lot of facts-based information about how body is made of cells. How you can nurture your cells, how you can never have cancer if possible, uh, detoxing, alkalining your body, not having dairy, not having meat. I will not go into that. He will take you through the process. I teach that to my students as well. So yeah, that's the fourth day with Tony Robbins. This is this girl, who came to one of my live preview workshop. She looked great on the surface. She had a lot of issues inside. She trusted in me. She said, Amandeep, I would like to go through the same system and find myself. She trusted. She also requested, can I see Tony live, like be next to him? I said, I can't promise, but if you set a pure intention, who knows, magic may happen. And it did. It surprised me as well. She got chosen to work with Tony. She went up on stage, and her life changed, a lot. She became a celebrity. There's a guy called Bal, who came to the program, uh, was in debt, was in huge problem, and going to Tony's program, the system, his life changed completely. So may I, share the same system or the process or whatever you call it with you guys right now, which can help you to achieve your dreams and aspirations. Thank you. Thank you. It's the same system, which made me go from suicidal to sensational. It's the same system which I learned from Tony, made me go up on stage and mesmerize 3,000 people at the Excel Center in London, where the event will be held. It's the same system, where I was able to share the stage with my mentor, Dr. John D. Martin, who got featured in The Secret. It's the same system, which helped me mesmerize 2,000 people in Chennai. It's the same system which helped me keep my promise to this amazing, beautiful human beings in my life, my parents. They came over to London a couple of years back, and now it's a regular phenomenon. They keep coming every few months. It's the same system where it helped me to commit and say yes to somebody for life. It's the same system, which gave me the power to become a father and give my daughter, a world which doesn't have any prison for her. It's the same system where it makes me enjoy my life. Just a few weeks back, I was in India in my last trip. I was at a beautiful resort in Jim Corbett, enjoying my life. It's the same system you can have access to in April next year at the London Centre. So make the notes of these dates. 11th to the 14th is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's long 4 days, 4 days of life, which you will never forget, which will have a new path for your life. So a quick glimpse pick of the program. You can have access to the same system if you choose to. All I want to say, if not Tony, then who? If not now, then when? You got to answer that question. You are the best judge. It's your call. A call like that in 2007 changed my life completely. And before I give you more information, before I take you through the process of how to get access to the system, I want to tell you that the program comes with a 100% money back guarantee because we believe in the program. You come and experience it, and by the second day meal break, if you still think it's not a great system, you can have a complete, refund for the program. This is where the room would look like. Tony will be up on stage because it is a great big event. We have some, you know, different categories. We have some special categories in the front, which we call it Solitaire, which comes for 4,999. That is inclusive of VAT. When you go Solitaire, you get treated as Solitaire. You get the front few rows. You get special access to the hall. You get special meals served for you. Everything is special. Even the registration is special for you. And this is where some celebrities and top sports people or business people sit. So it's a great place to network with some top business people. Then we have Diamond just behind Solitaire, and it is as good as Solitaire. Only difference is you're a few rows behind. Apart from that, everything else is the same. The normal investment would be 2,699. That would be the price on 1st of January, just 4 days from now. Then it's the Ruby. The investment for Ruby is 1,899. Before I go any further, just want to ask, the people who are on this webinar right now, how many of you here, you would love to come and spend 4 days with Tony and get access to the same system which I had and then many millions of people had whose life got changed? If your answer is yes, then please type into your chat box and let us know right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Then we have VIP, and the VIP would be 1,499. And I've been very modest to keep them the price which I think would be from first. There's a chance that it would be a little higher if the decisions are taken as per the management. But this is what would be the least investment you would do on the 1st of January. And the goal would be 999. Now, there's a little challenge, we have with the VIP category. It is sold out on the main website, and even for some of the reseller. Tony's program for London is the main host is Success Resources, but then we get resellers, and BioTicket, is one of the top resellers for Tony's tickets for UK. So how many of you here, once you've seen those figures, and we have a very special offer for a handful of people, is it's only 5 people from this group who we would be giving an access to a very special offer. And also want to tell you there's a payment plan, because we understand some of you would need that, because that's what happened to my life. If I did not get a payment plan, in 2007, I would not have access to Tony's program and the system, and I would not be the person I am. So I'm a big fan of installments. Again, I would leave it to BioTicket. You can discuss that with them. So we do have a payment plan. You can break your payments down, and we do have a very special offer for only 5 people who will make a decision today. So how many of you here, you are interested, or you would like to be a part of the system, and you would like to have the access to all the special offer we have? And remember, there's a money back guarantee. If you invest £1,000 in something and you can make double within 6 months, how many of you here would invest? If somebody can save you, 1 hour of your life, which is 365 hours in a year, how much would you pay towards it? If somebody can actually help you live maybe 1 year more or 6 months more, how much cost would you put down if somebody can do that for you? Think about it. Now, I took a picture of the VIP category. If you can see, it's already sold out. But today, as you are on this webinar, for 5 people, if you want, you can even book VIP, because we have few tickets for VIP, especially for you today on this webinar. So this is the investment you would do on the 1st of January, 999 for gold ticket. But as I said, we have some special bonuses for you. Now, to become a part of that bonus today, you will have to go to this website. The link you can see, it's been specially created for the webinar people. It says buyyourticket.com/Aman, which is like the first part of my name. And when you go to that website, you will have access just not to a special price, but everything else I will share with you. So here we go. So we have a Tony Robbins hat or cap, whatever you want to call it, worth £20 to give out for 5 people. We have a very special program at Tony called Personal Power, which is worth £270 to give out to 5 people on this webinar. And then the laser-like focus webinar, which I promised for you, which is worth £200. So there will be 5 people here. You would have access to that complimentary just because you're on this webinar. If you still want to sign up for this webinar, you can separately. But for those of you who are coming to Tony's program in April, and I am completely dedicated to inspiring people, my mission is to inspire 10 million people by 2030. So I'm on this mission, and to fulfill that mission, I need more people. So for 5 people who are on this webinar, you would have access to my laser-like focus. And it'll be a live webinar. I will be there, and you can also have some question answer at the end. I was able to dig out some of my statements from 2007 because I just applied for my UK passport a few days back. So I had to dig down, all my old records in the UK. And it is amazing, if you look at 11th of June 2007, I made a 120 pounds, 0.78 pound, 120 pound, 20 pounds, 78 pence, because I got a weekly payment plan. If I did not get that payment plan, I would not have made it. Then again, on the 18th of June, I paid an installment for Tony's program. I can go on, then 29th of May, I just had to pay in installments to go to the program. If I did not go to Tony's program, I don't know what my life would look like. So you have the access to that payment plan, and this is what it would look like. You will have access to the Personal Power program. You will have access to 3 webinars, and you will have access to the Tony's hat. And all this can be yours for 5 people who will make a decision today, only today, by going onto that website. And remember, if you can't pay in full, you can pay in installments. All you got to do is just reach out to buy your ticket. The number would be sent out to you in your chat box. So look out for that number in your chat box. The team is going to send the number out to you. You can call up the office, or you can send them an email, and the email address will be shared with you. And if you can, you can go and book directly right now, because only for 5 people who would have access to the special offer, which I just shared with you. So this is the way it will look like, Personal Power, 3 series of webinar, Tony Robbins hat, Tony Robbins UPW ticket, If you look at the total value, it works out to be 1,500 pounds. That's all for you today for just 799. So on that note, if you got any questions, any queries, anything you want to know about the pricing, the installment, reach out. I am here. I have no rush, no hurry to leave. My wife, she's still waiting for dinner for me, which she can hold on for a few more minutes. And I would love to be here because I know there are 5 special people, from this webinar who I'm going to meet personally and give a hug, at UPW. And plus, we'll also get on a call in a few weeks' time to do the laser focus webinar for you. So 5 people, please reach out to that link I've given you or dial up the number or just send an email to the team of BioTicket to make it happen for you. And remember, when you come to the program, if you still don't like it, you have full rights to cancel and get a full refund. But I know it's not going to happen because I know the power of unleash the power within. That man can create magic. On that note, Radha or David, if you have any questions, any queries, do let me know. And I would be more than happy to do my best. Any questions, guys? Any queries for me before I say goodbye to everybody?
Hello, Aman. Can you hear us?
Yes. Yep.
Aman, Peter is asking that he's been working passionately towards equality in application of the law, which has been a problem in UK. And the unique selling point I'm just reading out his message. The unique selling point I have is traumatic experience. I'm finding that in order to participate, the structure means I'm giving away my knowledge. How to do it differently and get rewarded for my passion and experience. Do you
Sorry,
want me to
what's
read
the?
this message? Yeah. Do you want me to read his message once more?
No, if you can just help me, understand what the real question is.
So he has been working passionately towards, the equality and application of the law. But the problem is in the selling point, he's having a bad experience. So he wants to participate and find a structure where he is not giving away the knowledge for free. He wants to see that, how he can better his life where he's not giving up the knowledge for free, as well as he is getting rewarded for that. How to structure his life in that way.
And what's the name? Did you say?
Peter.
Peter. Well, Peter, my friend, and this is not just only I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to pretty much other people who are still in the webinar, and I appreciate. I think almost 35 people have decided to stay back. Well, Peter, it's not about selling or making money. It's about the beliefs you carry. You're projecting your beliefs on the knowledge you're carrying for charging people for what you really want them to charge. As I already covered, we stay consistent with our struggle. So I'm sorry, price is never a concern. It's your projection of beliefs towards something is a concern. When you can show people value, people will always invest. Simple as that. So you have to raise your game to be able to sell to other and get paid for your knowledge. And again, it's a process. It will take time. All I can say, come and experience Tony's program. He will help you do that. And if it's not Tony, then find somebody, as a mentor who will take you through the process to build your belief system so that you don't project, your disbeliefs on your clients. And when you're able to, suspend your disbelief, you will be able to charge them for the value you provide from your knowledge. Thank you. Next.
That
Any more
was
questions?
nice, Aman. Yeah, that was nice. Peter thanked you for it. A lot of people are actually, for example, there's Davina
Hmm.
who, wants to know on how she can get a clarity on her goals. There is Smita who has a son.
Okay.
Who,
We'll take one
yeah,
one question at a time. So Davina, right?
yeah,
And she's asking how to gain clarity, right?
yeah, with respect to her
Okay.
job opportunities.
Okay. Well, Davina, sweetheart, understand, how is something we are all stuck with because we got programmed, in our school days to understand how things will happen. How would I become a world-class trainer? How in the world, would people would come and listen to a guy who speaks a foreign language? How in the world would I have the right accent? How in the world would I have the right way of teaching people? Well, how is important, but at the same time, it's not the most important thing. You got to go and figure out your why, and that's again a deep work. You have to understand what your values are, your top 3 or 4 values are. We do have a lot of values in life, maybe 8 or 10, but then no matter who we are, we always have a choice. I can only give you a quick story. There was a mother who was asked to choose between daughter and son, during the Nazi camps. Who would you send today to die? And see, if she did not choose, both would be killed. So she chose her son because she saw her son has more chances of surviving in a Nazi camp compared to her daughter. So coming back, we always have some top values in life, 3 or 4. Once you align your values with what you want to do, life will become magical. What I was about to actually, speak and share with you is about your why. You have to figure out your why, and that will take some time. You have to do some introspection, and you have to go through a process, where you sit down and you become true to yourself. When you figure out your why, the how will come. It's not that the how is not required. It is required, but again, it is not so powerful compared to your why. When you figure out your why, how just becomes easier. So please sit down and work on your why. Thank you. Next.
Thanks, Amandeep. We had Irene with us, but she just left. Patricia is trying to book in, and we have people in an overall, perspective asking for uh, how and what is the experience of UPW and how the payment plan and the value for money would be workful for them. So it's an overall question which a lot of people are asking. So I guess a idea as to why this amount is worth for them and as to why how the payment plan would be better for people who are experiencing financial crunches.
Thank you, Radha. So, Radha, will it be okay if I speak to you as a client right now? Let's say you
Oh,
are a
yes.
client, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Great. Beautiful. No, Radha, we are all smart people. Everybody in this webinar, we are very smart people. We go out in the world, and we deal, in numbers, we deal in monetary things. So let's say, tomorrow when you wake up and you get a letter saying, that if you invest £1,000 today, in 3 months' time, you can double your money. And this is not a tricky question. If you don't feel it, don't answer it. But if you really feel it, if you can double your money in 3 months, would you invest?
If I believe it's not a scam or something like that, then yes, I will. Of course. Who doesn't want to be rich?
Great. And just to answer to the question, which you honestly shared, that if until I realize that it's not a scam, because there are some scams going on. If there was a complete guarantee, again, in one context there is no guarantee in life, but in the worldly context, there's a paper given to you, and it says that if you can't double your money, we'll refund and then plus give you another £100 on top. If there was a proper guarantee, legally, would you do it?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So everybody who's interested, all I want to tell you guys, an experience is something you cannot experience without experiencing it. Tony has not just changed my life, and he has changed millions of life. I love that man. All I want to say, give him a chance, and he will not let you down. That man has been going on for 4 decades, and he has touched, millions of lives right now. And that's why, we give you a money back guarantee. Come to the program, experience it. If you still think it's not valuable, come and see me on the second day. I will be there. I will give you £100 from my pocket to say sorry for wasting your time, and you will get a full refund. That's my personal guarantee. Anybody listening right now, you're still in the webinar, only for you guys, okay? There are 25 people right now on this webinar. You book up on my promise, okay? And if I don't deliver, because I know what Tony was going to give you, right, on the webinar, sorry, on the program, you have all these bonuses to keep. And if you come to the program, if you don't like it, my personal guarantee is I'm going to give you £100 from my pocket cash, no questions asked. And the payment plan, for those of you who are asking, I think BioTicket has been very kind. They have said, Amandeep, we will work with any numbers. I'm not going to give it any figures, guys. They're happy to even go down the route of giving you 4 payment plans, because that's the maximum they can stretch. If I'm not wrong, again, don't take my word, speak to them, because their money's at stake. They have bought this ticket from Success Resources, and they're, giving you some leverages here. And I think, they're not also taking payment plan charges, which other companies would do. Again, don't take my word, speak to them. I think you can have a payment plan of 4 payments, maybe, if I'm not wrong. December, January, February, March. You have to be paid everything by March to come to the program in April, and they would need minimum 2 to 3 weeks to issue the ticket to you. So today is 26th, the 26th December, 26th January, 26th February, 26th March. In my understanding, again, don't take my words. I might be wrong, because I have not looked into the payment plan. All I know that they're ready to work with you. Just call them up and speak to them. They will bend and break every single rule in the book to make it happen, because they are people who are dedicated to make a change in people's life. So please speak to them. All you got to do is, if you're interested, pick up the phone and speak to Harrison. Trust me, he's a wonderful guy. He will do everything in his power to make it happen for you. Or speak to the team, David. Rather, they'll make it happen for you.
Thanks, Aman. That was really nice of you.
Okay, Radha, if any more questions, you take it up. I'll take it some other day. I think my wife is waiting. If I don't go any more now, maybe she will shoot me.
I hope to see you alive in Unleash the Power Within in April 2019, Aman.
Yes, looking forward. Stay blessed. Thank you, team, and have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Have a wonderful evening, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.